There we go. Doing pretty good. How are you doing? Yeah. It I've been looking forward to this a lot, especially after talking with you briefly about, like, you just getting into deathcore in last year, and I'm like, "That's so sick." Just bringing in people together. What a guy. Yep, I know absolutely nothing about photography, unfortunately. Uh-oh. Alright. Yep. Uh-huh. Legator. My friend always says it's like Skeletor. Yeah. I've never actually heard him say his last name, so I just say, like, Alanis, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. As far as my musical journey goes, those are, like, the main big hits that led to me being here, which is funny because I feel like, being a vocalist and everything was such, like, a huge part of my musical growth, and it's just not a thing anymore. So I feel like that's, like, a thing that might surprise people that I used to be a lead vocalist in, like, a lot of my first bands. And then after a while, I just kept on joining bands that already had vocalists. So I was just like, I mean, I don't need to do vocals. And then I just stopped practicing, and here we are. Thank you. As far as like getting to this point or the musical journey in itself, like which kind of origin story, I guess. Um, I mean, the working out with my dad thing definitely got metal specifically, but I feel like ever since I was like a really young kid, I always wanted to be a performer. And it started really early with my love for Linkin Park and my absolute like obsession with Chester Bennington when I was a kid. Like he like as a kid, he just embodied to me what was like cool. You know, he had the voice, he had the stage presence, and he had like a cool look, which led to me getting a bunch of piercings. And I don't have as many tattoos as I have piercings, but uh, so going from that and then seeing my dad play guitar, it was always something that I wanted to do. But discovering Pantera and metal as a whole and like the heavier side of it all pushed me into like the guitar direction, and that really pushed me into the kind of music that I wanted to play. So I would say that's like the beginning of it all. Yeah, I still talk with him every day and everything. Like we're still on really good terms. Like you know, as people get older, at least I feel you start to kind of favor one parent or the other as far as like talking to them more often. And yeah, like me and my dad will still like go do stuff together, and I'll try to like go out of my way to be like, hey, there's this like movie that came out, you want to check it out? Like just stuff like that. Yeah, it's like with like my I have a bunch of sisters. So like the sister closest to my age, that's been like a thing recently because we don't really have too much common ground, but like one common thread that we've always had since we are like little is just like watching shows and like watching anime and stuff like that. And her husband got her like super into working out and everything. So now we talk about that kind of stuff too, like just hitting our PRs and like, what you did today and that kind of thing. So it's like it's not just like my dad that I'm like staying connected with. It's kind of like getting closer with my siblings and stuff like that too as I get older, which
Okay,
is pretty cool too.
cool. Yeah, that's amazing. Everybody couldn't hear me until literally now, so I apologize for that. My browser source disconnected, or my microphone source disconnected, so I had to reconnect that really quickly. But yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder
Unfortunate.
what's going on. But yeah, thanks Q. Shout out to Q for helping us out with that. Let me know if you guys would like me to repeat anything, but basically, if we want to check out Steven, if you haven't heard of Steven, go change that right now. Go follow. I'm gonna do a shout out in the chat actually right now.
Much appreciated.
Right. Yeah. And then I'm gonna actually read your bio again because we apparently people missed that. People missed that whole thing. And then for those who didn't hear, I asked about Steven's origin story. So that was a what the first question was. But yeah, let's read that bio one more time for good old sake.
All right.
All right,
And
sailing.
if there's anything you want me to elaborate on, let me know.
Yeah, feel free. Let me know. Feel free to interrupt me if there's anything that I missed. But pretty much, hailing from San Jose, California, Steven grew up immersed in heavy music thanks to his father, a former metal guitarist who introduced him to the sounds of Pantera and Slayer during their father-son weightlifting sessions. At age 12, he received his first guitar, a BC Rich Warlock, and by 8th grade, he was spending every free moment learning to play with Slayer's Raining Blood as his first challenge. His early years were spent cutting his teeth in thrash and metal bands like Dread, honing his skills as both lead guitarist and vocalist. After moving to Southern California as a teen, his taste has evolved toward deathcore and gen, and he found himself at the center of a thriving local scene, performing with bands like Among the Mindless and Keep What You Kill. The turning point of his musical journey came in 2015 when he joined the deathcore outfit The Human Extinction. What began as an audition quickly evolved into a creative partnership, with Steven contributing songwriting, arrangement, and technical precision that helped shape the band's evolving sound. Since then, he has earned endorsements from Legator. I did it again.
Legator.
Legator. Legator guitars and arachnid cabinets, and remains deeply rooted in the genre that has shaped him. Now, a trio with guitarist Joshua Lopez and vocalist Ryan Alanes, the Human Extinction continues to push the boundaries of deathcore with their most focused lineup yet. For Steven, music isn't just a craft, it's a lifeline, a love, and a calling.
Perfect.
Perfect. Second time's a charm.
Yep.
But yeah, again, if you guys aren't following Steven, Steven's pretty cool. I'm really excited to have you on as our first deathcore artist. So it's been really exciting to wait until that build up, and we've been looking forward to this for some time. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially like looking at some of the other artists that you had on. I was like, oh man, this is very different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is different, but that's kind of something that I like doing. I don't like sticking with one thing or one genre, and that's just kind of who I am. But
Yeah.
you know, like it's really fun. It's just to be able to expand the horizons a little bit, but also like I am newer to deathcore, but I like it. I like what I've heard.
Yeah, which is always awesome to hear
Yeah.
because, you know, you might not believe it, but a lot of people don't like deathcore the first time they hear it.
I don't think I did the
So
first
it's
time I heard
like,
it. So,
fair enough.
you
Yeah,
know?
but it's like just getting to that point where you're like open-minded enough, which I feel like is definitely becoming more of a thing because deathcore is bigger than it's ever been. So it's like hearing people be more open-minded about it and actually like liking it and exploring more into it is just so cool because like especially back in 2015, like the genre just they didn't really die out. It's just not as much was happening.
Hmm.
So seeing this whole like turnaround where now instead of being like one of the bands that's still like, trying to hold on to it, we are now one of like many, many, many bands doing this is like so sick. And then seeing like all these people get into it now is like there's some people being like gatekeepy about it, but I'm like the complete opposite. The more
Yeah.
people that get into the genre, the better. Like
Yeah.
not only for us, but yeah, like you don't want the same kind of people at every show. You want everybody. Like
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me what you do, what you mainly listen to. If you're giving this a shot, like awesome. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, that's really awesome too. I mean, first thing I say that gatekeeping is the silliest thing ever, especially in like metal and deathcore and stuff, because like it's kind of a thing that doesn't really fit in with society. So you kind of just think like maybe the misfits would be more accepting, you know? And if it whatever I've heard that it's been the opposite, like I always liked being a bit of a
Yeah.
misfit and like connecting with that community as like I've been figuring out who I am and stuff. So it's really cool to like see whenever there are people that are open-minded about it and want to welcome people into a new community because people don't always get that, you know?
Yeah, it's a very strange thing. Like I feel like deathcore isn't like hasn't really been super gatekeepy like some other genres, but like I definitely see it in places where it's like something will start to become popular and it's just like a big thing because I know you're doing your first Elden Ring run right
Mhm.
now. The Souls community is very gatekeepy.
I've heard.
And it's like if you don't play the game exactly the way that I want you to, not necessarily the way that I played it, but the way that I want you to as somebody else, then shame on you. You're not a real Souls fan. It's like, what? So it's just a very strange thing to me that if you love something, you want it to be only yours.
Right.
Like I'm the opposite. Like when I the first time I came upon your channel, because I had seen you do the stream together with Maple.
Hmm.
I popped in your channel. I see you play Elden Ring. I'm like, that's sick
Yeah.
because I'm super late to the party on all the Souls stuff. Like I only got into it a couple years ago,
Mm.
and it's like if I had been there from like the very beginning of it all, like who cares if people are just barely getting into it? Who cares if people, like, aren't going into everything absolutely blind and they're getting a little help? It's like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everything should be for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like I love a good amount of suffering whenever it comes to that game, but if I'm losing the entire plot, then like somebody's not willing to offer help if I like or anybody asks for it. I mean, there's always like cheating if you wanted to cheat and like look up the answer online, but where's the fun in that? Like getting a couple of hints is always super fun in a chat. So, I don't know. I've always appreciated your feedback
Yeah.
whenever you've had it as a first time player and as somebody that hasn't somehow gotten any spoilers. But I mean, I could talk about Elden Ring forever, and I'm only just figuring out like where how to
Yeah.
even follow the main plot because I've been just like doing side quests this whole time for the first 100 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about though, you
Yeah,
know? Like, that's why I'm constantly like, "If you need help, let me know.
yeah,
If not, I'm just gonna stay quiet."
yeah.
'Cause I don't wanna even be like I don't even wanna be like, "Oh, just wait until the next part comes up," 'cause I don't want you to expect anything, you know?
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's how I went into it. I went into it completely, like I had seen, like, a few content creators I had seen play it, but at the time, I had no interest in playing it 'cause Elden Ring was something I was never gonna play.
Mm.
But everybody in my stream constantly was just like, "When are you gonna play Elden Ring? When are you gonna play Elden Ring?" So I was like, "You know what, guys? If we get to 75 subs, I will play Elden Ring." And they got us there, so I had to play it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I ended up I hated it for a long time,
Mm.
but I had something very serious happen, in my personal life, and that kind of drove me to just looking for something to just invest a ton of time into and just kinda, like, forget about it,
Mm-hmm.
and Elden Ring just completely covered that, and I just ended up falling in love with it, and then I went
Wow.
and platinumed the entire series, and now I'm addicted to hard games, and it's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, that's I love hearing that. Like whenever something can help you be able to like escape or get through something hard in your life, that's just like makes it all the more special, you know? Um, and I don't necessarily feel the same way about Elden Ring in particular, but I feel that way about specific music that I've listened to throughout my life. I'm sure other people can relate with that. I mean, why are we here today chatting together if music didn't impact us in some way, right? Um, so yeah, like I said, I could talk about Elden Ring forever, but that's just like mainly for like creative and personal reasons, I'd say, you know? I mean, not only is like one of the most beautiful games ever made, like I don't know. I like a good challenge and I like being able to like channel my rage into something because I can't really be angry about anything else, right? So,
That's
yeah.
fair enough.
But yeah, to kind of just like really go back into the interview, I have another question for you. It's kind of related actually, but what movie, book, or TV character do you think you relate with the most and why?
Uh, this is not to the extent that she's goes to, but I had such a huge connection, uh, in with, Bocchi from Bocchi the Rock,
Okay.
which if you've never seen that anime, it is amazing. It's about this girl who is so shy to the point where she just refuses to interact with anybody,
Mm.
but she sees an interview on TV of, this musician getting, well, he's getting interviewed. And, they ask him a bunch of questions, and he says, "Oh, I was so shy, I didn't have any friends in high school, but I
Mm.
started playing guitar, and now I'm in this famous band." So she gets it in her head like, "Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to learn guitar so I could get friends,
Mm.
and I could be popular and all that." So she just goes on this journey, but then she ends up just learning guitar and becoming this, like, insane guitar player, but she's still, like, super shy, so it didn't really work. But, it's a really good story, and then she, like, gets into a band and all this stuff, and, it I connected with it so hardcore because in high school, I had terrible, terrible social anxiety.
Mm,
I eventually grew out of it, like, none of it exists anymore, but I just always had the idea that nobody would want to talk to me, so I didn't
mm.
talk to anybody, and then when people would talk to me, I'm like, "I need to cut this conversation short because they don't really wanna talk to me." So,
Aw.
I just had this I just had this, like, terrible shyness and social anxiety, and then I started playing guitar, and I was like, "Oh, if I play guitar and I get really good at it, people wanna talk to me," and it's not really how it worked, but it gave me an outlet, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I connected so hardcore with that because I was like, "This is literally me if I was, like, an anime girl or something."
Yeah, I as somebody that's like kind of I consider it a recovering awkward person because I'm refused to be awkward anymore. Like I'm trying to get past that. So I'm a recovering awkward person. Um I very much relate with that sentiment with like trying to make friends and do really cool things to make friends. I mean, I kind of am doing music because I wanted to be able to like talk to people about something that everybody could relate with. And then as a result, I would hope that it would make me friends. It kind of worked, but it also all I can talk about is music now. So it kind of didn't work. So that's a little bit about
Yeah,
my personal life if you ever wanted to hear that. But but yeah, so to kind of follow up
yeah.
with that question, where in that character's story do you feel like you are right now?
I feel like I'm a little past where the show is,
Hmm.
but I I I haven't read the manga or anything like that just because, like, I don't know if it's just being a musician or something, but, like, or I don't know if this guided me to being a musician. I need, like, audio to really hold my attention.
Hmm.
So I can't read, like, manga or comic books or anything like that because I just started drifting off, and I was like, "Oh, let's go do that over there instead." But, I mean, if she grows out of her social anxiety and just starts, like, throwing down super hard on stage and, like, finds, like, a good group of friends and everything, then I guess I'm at that stage.
Cool.
'Cause,
Yeah.
I my social anxiety's gone. Like, I could, like, a big thing when I go to shows is people, like, ask me about, like, my ear and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I could just sit there and talk to people like it's nothing now, which I've come a long way in the last 10 years because I
Hmm.
used to not be able to hold conversations at all. I used to just be like the moment somebody talked to me, I would answer whatever question they have and just, like, leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's very real. I understand that. But it's really cool to hear about your growth and like where you've come from and where you are now and like I don't know, it's just really cool to hear that. And I'm happy for you.
It's strange
Yeah.
thinking back to how bad it was. Yeah, because I had a one thing that I have, like, one anecdote that I always bring up to, I guess, tell people just how bad it was. So,
Mm.
there was a girl that I liked in high school, and apparently she liked me. Her only stipulation was that I had to go talk to her in person at school, and I could not do it.
Oh.
I legit could not do it, so, it just escaped me. So I was like, "Alright, well,
Oh.
I guess that's a fail, whatever."
Oh no. Well,
Yeah,
you live and you learn.
it was yeah, so I grew out of that eventually by just going to shows and kinda, like, having, like, a stern talking to with myself. It's like, "Okay, we're not gonna get anywhere in music if we can't even talk to people."
Yeah.
Like, we need to be able to talk to people at shows because I don't know anybody that plays music, and I don't know anybody who plays the kind of music that I wanna play, so we gotta go find people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's cool that you realize that as well, because I feel like most people, I don't know about most people, but some people don't realize that and don't have that self-awareness that you seem to have. So, um, yeah, it's cool that you're like pushing yourself to grow and develop and become, a happier person, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't for being able to talk to myself not be able to talk myself into things, I guess, I wouldn't get anywhere with anything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, So, how did you get involved with a human extinction? We talked about it possibly being, or about it being an audition, but do you mind telling me the story?
Yeah, so I had joined another band at the time. So I had the band that I was fronting and playing guitar for.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, the members just started like falling out.
Mm,
Like it just became like a thing of like, oh, like, this person doesn't want to do it anymore. This person is doing something else, and it all started to fall apart. And I took that really hard, because it's like a lot of people refer to their bands and like projects like that as like their baby, and it really does feel like that. So when things start to fall apart, it feels like it's entirely your fault.
right.
So I was just like, I don't even want to play guitar.
Oh,
So a band that I was pretty familiar with, they were auditioning for bass players.
okay.
So I went and auditioned. I got the job, and I ended up playing bass for this band, and they brought in another guitar player. So that was the guitar player for the Human Extinction at the time, but he had a similar thing where his whole band just kinda dropped off, so he was like, "I need to go do something else." And, one of the rehearsals, I ended up picking up, the other guitar player's guitar and just, like, kinda playing a little something, and he was like, the other guitar player was like, "I didn't even know you played guitar." I was like, "Yeah, that's my main instrument, I just play bass here." So he liked what I was playing, and he was like, "Hey, I have this band that I started a while ago called Human Extinction. I really want to get it going again. Would you want to come down and jam some songs?"
Mm.
So I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "This is what we have out right now." And he sent me a song, and I was like, "Yeah, this is terrible. Oh, this is so bad. You guys aren't playing in key. These parts are the tempos are all wrong. The drums don't sound like they're going with the guitars. This is really bad."
Oh no.
But I was willing to hear him out. So he came through and he showed me a new song that he was working on. And it was definitely there. Like there's potential. So I was like, okay, how about this? I'm gonna put all of this stuff into Guitar Pro. I'll move things around. I'll put things where they should be because I have a general idea of like what you're going for, and I'll send it your way. And if you like it, we could jam it out. If you don't, then all good. So I took the song that we were jamming out that day, and then I took the song that he had sent me, the one that I thought was terrible,
Mm.
and, I just moved things around. I put them where they should be as far as, like, playing a key goes, because they had leads that just didn't really make sense. So I was like, "Okay, like, if the rhythm is doing this, you need to be playing here, like, and you need to be hitting these, otherwise it's gonna sound really bad."
Mm.
And, he liked it, and from there, we just started working together. That was the original guitar player, Anthony, who's no longer in the band, though.
Okay.
So we did everything for yeah, we were working together for almost 10 years, and, yeah, sometimes people just get too deep into, life outside of it, and they start just kinda losing the passion for it, so he ended up, we ended up having a good talk, and he went his separate way, but it was a really good break.
Mm.
He he knew that he was done with it, I knew he was done with it, so we're like, "Alright," and then he gave his blessing for me to continue on without him. So,
That's good.
yeah, that's going from there to here, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for sharing all that. I did actually have a question about like that early album that you said that wasn't available anymore. Is that the reason why?
No, 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 no. So, that is a wild ride.
Oh
So,
yeah?
so that so that album was recorded with a guy that I was in another band with at the time.
Okay.
And his whole thing was, he was super solid. He knew all that stuff, which to inexperienced people like us at the time, we're like, yeah, sick. But then as we got the album, I'm like, this is not good. Like it's barely mixed,
Oh.
and everything sounds really weird. And So we got through about 3/4 of the album. He also didn't edit things. So when
Wow.
there was little like like little dumb noises that you would normally remove,
Mhm.
he wouldn't even notice them.
Weird.
So I was listening to the songs on like really good speakers and I was like, "Why didn't you take this sound out?" He's like, "Oh, do you want me to? I could just pull it up and take it out right now." I'm just like, "Okay." And so we got about 3/4 through the album and our vocalist quit.
Oh no.
And I was like I was like, "Do you wanna, like, you know, we'll, like we'll cover the costs and everything, like, could you just come through and just finish, like, the last 3 songs?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Alright."
Wow.
So, I ended up having to take demo recordings that he did of the songs, clean them up to the best of my abilities, and then send them over to the guy we were recording with, and then he didn't even, like he didn't do anything, all he did was just straight drop them in, and that was it, which
Whoa.
there's a lot more to it, but he literally just took the cleaned up vocals that I had on my computer, and he just dropped them into the track, and he's like, "Okay, it's done." So, it was
Wow.
just a really bad experience, and then on top of that, after we were 100% done, he was like, "Okay, so I want points for sales,
Mhm.
I want credits, I want a producer credit, I want this, I want that," and we're just like, You weren't a producer on this album, dude. You didn't do any producing."
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh, really?" We're like, "Yeah, you didn't do anything." And,
Wow.
he was really weird, and then, he came out with some pretty wild stuff too, 'cause, yeah, that got closer to when, a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff, started popping up, and he had some, wild takes on that, if, to say the least, and we're like,
Mm.
"Yeah, let's distance ourselves as far away from this guy as possible."
Gotcha.
And, yeah, so that's why so the songs not sounding good, it being traced back to that guy, and then just overall, like, I guess, like, bad not even bad vibes, bad everything, like, making that album, we're just like, "We're just gonna pull it."
Wow.
But I do have a bunch of, hard copies of it left. So, my thing is always, like, if people wanna hear it, like, I'll send them a hard copy 'cause, I it's not like it's, like, it's not like it comes with, like, the plague or anything, you know?
Mhm.
If people wanna hear the old versions of the songs, which the our old vocalist was great, like, it's just he just didn't wanna be a vocalist anymore,
Right.
and instead of, like, finishing it out with us, he was just like, "Nope, I'm done. Bye."
Yeah. That's unfortunate,
So,
but also,
yeah.
yeah, that does happen. That does happen quite often. Fortunate.
Yeah, especially with
Unfortunate.
musicians,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
lose the love for it, you just don't wanna do it.
Yeah, you lose the love for it, or like kind of what we were talking about off stream with it feeling a little bit more like work instead of fun. I feel like there's like that transition there that people usually like make or break whether or not they want to do this. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's definitely something that we've run into a lot 'cause, we've had quite a lot of people come through this band, unfortunately.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, sorry to hear that, but how's the
It
journey
is what it is.
changed up to this point? Like it seems like you guys have gone through quite a lot as a band. So what's I feel like I could ask a lot of questions from that just statement right there, but what like cuz
Yeah, ask away.
A, what's one thing you took away from that that you would want to take and bring into the future basically? Yeah, I feel like that's a good start.
Like, as far as, like, what's, like, a lesson I learned kinda thing?
Yeah.
Not to compromise when it comes to things like that,
Mm, that's a good
because
answer.
I made a lot of compromises, during that time. You know, we were working with people that I wasn't 100% sold on,
Mm.
but we did it anyways in the name of getting it done. We were wheeling and dealing with absolutely anybody we could because we thought that's what you had to do.
Right.
And it and then you know playing the game by other people's standards, which I don't do anymore. So it was just a lot of like, I'm gonna do this. I don't really want to talk to this person. I don't
Mm.
really want to deal with this person, but that's just part of it. Which there's still part of it today, but not in the sense of I'm gonna compromise on the sound of the band because doing this with this person would just benefit us more.
Mm.
And then, like with the recording, like our guitar player Joshua Lopez has been recording the band since 2019 now,
Mm.
and I refuse to record with anybody else because if you don't care about the way the band sounds and you don't care about the end product, then I don't want to work with you. And Josh is the guy when it comes to that. So no compromises.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is right there.
Josh, thanks for the follow. Somebody's ears were burning. That's funny. Right on cue. Literally, we were just talking
Yeah.
a bunch of crap. A bunch of crap. Nah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I felt like I could like ask a lot from the statement I had made, but in perfect me fashion, I forgot the statement that I made. So we'll stick with that one question, and move on to the next one. Um, Deathcore is often seen as a maxed out genre. How do you feel? How do you find new ways to push the envelope within something that's already as extreme as it is?
My take with that isn't really like pushing the envelope
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like the sound that I generally like does fit into the grain of what's going on. Mine is more the personnel that I have with me are just so insanely talented that I feel like, because I mean, he's making jokes in the chat that he can't shred. Josh is one of the best guitar players I have ever seen in my life.
Mm.
I've seen this dude like rip out solos out of nowhere, and I'm just like, I don't know how. And then our vocalist Ryan is one of the sickest vocalists in deathcore. It's just
Mm.
nobody knows who he is yet.
Mm.
So mine is just more, I think we're gonna really stick out because of the personnel and because we're not 100% fitting with one way or the other. Because right now, deathcore I feel is in two different directions. Either you're following the heavy production orchestral kind of vibe, like
Right.
the Brand of Sacrifice and Lorna Shore, or you're following the super caveman like Spite and Psycho Frame.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're fitting kind of in between because we have songs that play both sides.
Mm.
And I definitely want to bring in more songs that show off, like, that we could play. Like, I mean, there's no question. I mean, Josh is in a band called Immortal Guardian,
Mm.
and they're one of the sickest power metal bands ever. And
Cool.
like, so there's no question that he's not like a shredder, but I feel like that I don't get to show that off very much. That I, have a pretty good technical ability. So we're gonna be kind of walking the line between those two with like some technicality, but also the ignorant, stupid caveman stuff that just makes you want to hit people.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Josh is just saying something in the chat. Me and Ryan come from a smaller city that has talent, but we are too far from big cities to be noticed the same. I try to work with talent in my area, and I'm lucky to have met someone like Steven to work with. Aw, that's awesome. That's really special.
which is like the which is like the opposite for me because I think it is so lucky that I met Josh.
Mm.
Like in our relationship, I think I'm the lucky one because I met this dude so randomly and he ended up becoming one of my best friends. It's so
Uh,
weird. So, but so both of us were sponsored by Legator Guitars,
mm-hmm.
and I say back in the day, it was like 5, 6 years ago. We used to have a private, Legator little, like, community. It was like a
Really?
private Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
and he would be in there posting, that he's doing mixing and mastering stuff, that he does recording, and then posting, like, his covers. So I had seen him, and I knew he was an insane player, but I hadn't dug too deep into, like, the mixing and mastering stuff yet, and, we recorded with somebody, after after the whole album debacle, we went looking for somebody professional, quote unquote
Right.
professional to record with. So we went with this guy who worked at this like, I think it was like a $5 million studio.
Oh wow.
And so he charged us like an insane rate for
Right.
one song. So we go and he was like, "Oh, something happened with the studio. Would you guys mind recording at my house?" And we're like, "Dude, are you kidding me?"
Same price and everything?
But Yep. But of course, I compromised because he was telling me, "You're paying for the expertise, you're not paying for the equipment."
Yeah.
So, of course, I compromise and I go with it. Dude doesn't know what he's doing.
Really?
He recorded vocals in an open room with all of us in the room. So, like, say, I'm in my room and they're recording like that, everything's bouncing off the walls, so you hear all the echoes and the vocals.
Right.
It was bad. It was really
Wow.
bad, and, yeah, so, he did the most basic guitar plugins. There was things that he wasn't hearing, like, there like I said, the little noises,
Yeah.
which Josh is like I don't need to worry about little noises with Josh,
Mm-hmm.
but with this guy and with the guy before, I was like, "Oh, can you get rid of that noise?" And this guy's like, "What noise?" And he would be like it would play, and then I would be like, "There's a little ee" every time this one part hits, and he's like, "Oh, is there? Can you tell me when it happens?" And I told him when it happens. He's like, "Oh, okay, I could fix that." And it was like that.
Wow.
He didn't really know what he was doing. He just worked at a really expensive studio, and it was a really bad experience. And when he mixed and mastered it, it sounded terrible.
Wow.
Like I could have done it better myself. So I found Josh on the forums on our little Facebook group again. I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, I need help. This mix and master is bad." And he is like, "How bad is it?" I sent it to him. He's like, "Oh, this is bad." So I was like, if I send you everything, could you fix it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he sent me to the best of his abilities. He got it together. He sent it my way. It was 1,000 times better than the guy did, and,
Mm.
that is the 2018 version of martial law that we have up on, Spotify. And that was my first time working with Josh, and then after that, the whole thing was gonna be, "Oh, we'll find somebody to record without here, and I'll send you stuff," but then once we went to NAMM, which, if you're not familiar with NAMM, it's like a big, convention for, music vendors and stuff like that. It's like a Comic Con for music. You basically
Mm.
show off your stuff for the new year, and it's like an invite only kind of thing. Like you could
Okay.
buy public passes, but they're expensive. It's
I
like
bet.
150 for like a day pass.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like going to Disneyland, which is funny because it's right next to Disneyland. But so we went and we were talking, and I think it was Josh's idea. I think he said like, "Why don't you just fly me out and we'll just record?" So we did that because he's from Texas. So we just did that,
Cool.
and that's how it's been ever since.
That's
So
amazing.
no compromising. And it was just like, all right, you're the guy I want to work with. If we got to do something crazy to make it work, let's make it work.
Perfect. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thanks for sharing all that, and it's been really cool to hear about the how the band's evolved, even then like you said since you joined in 2019?
2015.
2015. Okay, wow, I misremembered that. 2015. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot seems like a lot has changed, a lot has evolved, and you guys have been a lot through a lot together, and It's really cool to see that you guys are sticking through it to this day and doing what you love.
Yeah, it's like I like there's so many times where I was ready to drop it, but
Mm,
the songs are just exactly what I want to put out. So
mm,
I'm just like, if I were to do anything else, it would literally just be this under another name. So
yeah,
why even bother? We're
right.
just gonna we're just gonna go on through. And now that I got Josh in the bands, we got Ryan on vocals. We don't have a drummer, which, like I said, we have a weird history with drummers.
Yeah.
But it's just like, let's make it work.
Yeah, I actually did have a question about that. I'm gonna ask that right now. So, you said that you're cursed when it comes to drummers. What's the wildest or most ridiculous drummer related story you have?
I mean, we have the one that I was talking about when you came through my stream where the drummer was auditioning and and he showed up and he didn't know how to play any of the songs. He was like, "Oh, I thought I could just like, figure it out here." Which I mean, doing that for a deathcore band, deathcore is not the genre for a drummer to jump in at practice.
No.
But the wildest one is we had one drummer in 2018 when we were supposed to shoot the video for the song there for our song Martial Law, the one that
Mhm.
Josh fixed. 3 days before the shoot, drummer hits me up.
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna come through."
Oh.
Like, "What do you mean?" I'm just not gonna do this. I'm not doing music anymore."
Mm.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So, we have a music video for that one. I don't really like how that music video came out, but but there's no drummer in it.
Hmm.
Fast forward 2 years, that drummer and me, reconciled.
Oh, good.
All was good. So he ended up coming back into the band, and he was being very consistent. He had all the songs down. One of the best drummers I've ever worked with. You know, the like personal issues aside, that will never take away from his talent.
Mm.
So we have another video shoot, which is our best looking video to date, I think, our for an old song called Lex Talionis. And a week before the video shoot, yeah, man, I'm done. I'm not coming through the video. Same drummer, same exact circumstance. Days before the
Wow.
video shoot, drops. So that shoot does not have a drummer either. I think that's our wildest one. We got we got left at the altar twice by the same drummer.
Yeah. You think the first time would be enough, right?
Yeah, but I can definitely be a little too forgiving sometimes
Yeah.
and just kind of like try to be a little too understanding. Like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes things are hard. Sometimes you make decisions and you go back on them. It's all good, man.
Yeah.
You know. And then the same thing happens again. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm stupid.
Nah, you're not stupid. I think whenever it comes to, I mean, you're a nice guy. I think people take advantage of nice guys. You know? Could be as simple as that.
It definitely happens, but
Yeah.
I try to not. I try to not let it affect me too much
Right.
because like I've kind of learned because I'll go out of my way to like help people or like I was talking to yeah, I was talking about it yesterday. Like I think it's very important to hype up people
Yeah.
when they're doing something good because it's just not just like the whole like it means a lot to people, but it's also just like you got to let people know they're doing a good job.
Right.
And then when people are struggling, you lend out a helping hand, especially if it's somebody you know and somebody you like, because you would hope the same help would be lent out to you if you needed it.
Yep.
So I've been taken advantage of a lot in my life. And recently I had like something really big happen that was really unfortunate, but
Mm.
I try not to let it hurt my outlook on life too much because, you know, people are going to do that no matter what. Like there's
Yeah.
people that I'll help out no matter what, and then they do the same for me, and it's like, that no bad comes of it. But there are people like that where you do that for them and you try to help them out and you try to be understanding and everything, then they do the same thing. But
Right.
it's just kind of like, all right, well, that's your problem now.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't say anything about me, it says something about you kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that that's all happened, and I hope that the situation that you had to go through, especially recently, sorts itself out and all that. You
Um,
know.
yeah, it's sorted. It was just an unfortunate thing. I was working with somebody for a long time,
Mm.
and then things got to the point where it's like, all right, we're gonna start doing stuff, and then ghosted.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but some people are like that,
Mhm.
I try not to dwell on it too much because I
Yeah.
still got my other stuff going, so doesn't
Yeah.
take too much away from it.
Yeah. Like you were saying, no compromise. But do you feel like something that you would tell your what is something you would tell your younger self maybe? Um, kind of revolving around this whole combo.
Um, I think the main thing I would tell myself, uh, would be 2 things. I think I would be a little harder on my old self because I have a very bad, um, what would be the word? I have a very bad habit of procrastinating,
Mm.
and I have a very bad habit of letting myself off the hook,
Oh, gotcha.
which I am trying very hard to get past, and I try to be as productive as possible now.
Mm.
But my younger self, I would let myself off the hook a lot.
Mm.
So I guess having like a stern talking to with my younger self of just like, who cares if this bad thing happened? Do something productive. Come on.
Mm.
Nobody's gonna do anything for you. Just do it yourself. Come on.
Yeah.
Stop like slumping in your room and being sad. Go do something because 10 years later, you're just gonna look back on that as wasted time.
Mm.
So just being really stern with myself, I think that would be my main thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten a response to that question like that. Usually it's like kind of the opposite thing where it's like got to be easier on yourself because you were so hard on yourself to begin with. So that was an interesting answer.
Yeah, it's like the opposite for me because I am very hard on myself,
Mm.
but like I said, I have a tendency to let myself off the hook.
Mm.
So I'll be hard on myself, and it's like, well, I am going through a lot, so maybe it's okay to be like this. Like, no, like the time's ticking away. I want to get things done, and nobody's gonna do them for me. So you need to get on it, and you need to do
Yeah.
stuff, or else it's never gonna get done.
Right. Yeah, there's that
So
balance that you got to have and the boundary goes both ways, you know?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because they're setting boundaries
yeah,
for yourself in a healthy way to like give you the rest that you need as well. But like, there's also the boundary that needs to be set where you do get where you get the stuff done where you get done.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I try not to be hard on myself in the sense of I have a lot of self-esteem issues and self-image
Mm.
issues, which a lot of people have. So I try not to be hard on myself in that sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like with my whole like health journey and working out and everything, my whole thing is not so much of not letting self-hatred fuel that.
Mm.
More of I want to get better as opposed to I hate this now. So it just kind of falls in line with that. It's just like, you know, I am trying to like I guess do it in a more positive light, but also be like, we can't let this slide.
Right. Yeah, that's a really tough
So
balance. That's a tough balance. especially
It
whenever
it
there's
really
like,
is,
go ahead.
because then sometimes you start getting you start getting mean to yourself, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, now we're getting a little too crazy."
Yeah. Yeah, and especially whenever there's like mental health involved and then just like the outlook that you have on yourself and your self-image, like that automatically like makes it a little bit more complicated. And yeah, like you said that a lot of people go through that similar thing, but like it is still you and your experience. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all that. We could talk more about that kind of thing. But I do
down
kind
for
of want to
whatever.
switch things back into gear with maybe a fun question too. So,
For sure.
what do you think people must understand most about the deathcore, especially those outside of the scene? And I feel like we talked a little bit about it with like some gatekeeping involved. And I'd love to hear your answer as somebody who refuses to gatekeep.
Um, I would say I guess one thing would be more of a reflection of metal as a whole, like, the
Mm,
idea that, but deathcore does take it a step further, like, especially once you get into, like, a lot of, like once you get into that extreme side of it with, like, the beat down stuff and everything like that,
mm,
a lot of those shows do get very violent.
mm.
I would say a big misunderstanding is, like, I guess the anger and the violence that's carried with it. It's just kinda like, it's not really like that.
Yeah.
Um, I would also say, like, because that statement goes with metal as a whole, like, people see moshing, the classic thing, they see this, like, aggressive things and think, like, violence and anger, but it's not really like that.
Mm-mm.
But deathcore as a whole, I would say, I don't know, I guess one of the big misunderstandings is somebody who's never looked into the genre is just especially vocally, that's, like, the biggest turnoff for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, deathcore vocalists like, specific, like, some of the most experimental and, like, insanely talented people vocally.
I totally agree with you, but I feel like that with instrumentals too. Some of the most talented
Yeah,
people, like,
instrumentals as well, but
yeah, it
yeah,
takes skill. It
yeah,
doesn't, it
but
not only takes skill and a like passion for it, but yeah, it's like some of the most talented people ever in that genre.
yeah, but my whole thing is just, like, if you heard a lot of deathcore songs, like, if you heard, like, a Lorna Shore song, just instrumental, I feel like people would be able to grab onto that a lot more without the vocals.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like that's why I'm like, the vocals specifically because that's, like, a lot of people, like, they draw the line at the vocals,
Hmm.
which yeah, like, deathcore, you have such, like, a wide array of people. You do have people doing, like, specific sounds these days, but, like, I don't know, it takes so much and, like, so much talent and so much, like, time, like, my vocalist, Ryan, has been doing it for forever now, and, like, that dude is only as good as he is now because, like, he put the time in. Dude's got talent like crazy, but, he's over there messing with, like, this sound and that sound, and now, like, he's got all these different weapons in his arsenal, and it's like, it's takes a lot more talent than people give it credit for sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I do a little dive on metal in general, but especially the heavier side of things, I'm just like mind blown by the talent and the skill and the practice. Most importantly, the practice that it takes to get to the where a lot of these people are and where you guys are at. So I want to applaud you for that because like that's a not an easy thing to stick with, you know? Yeah, you obviously love it, but like at the same time, you gotta keep
Yeah.
practicing and stuff, and sometimes that's really hard, even when you love it.
Yeah, that's why I started doing, like, dumb stuff on stream. Like, I play a lot of, Dead by Daylight, and a big thing with Dead by Daylight is you have very long queue times sometimes because it is a 1v4 game, so it's a lot easier for 4 people to group together than 1 person to find those 4.
Yeah.
So, I sit there in between games and, like, on stream, I'll play songs or I'll practice something. So I stream Dead by Daylight with my guitar in my lap, and I'll just be playing in between because 'cause I'm like, "Alright, this is time that I can use for practice."
Right. Kind of like having a little ad break and doing something during an ad break, but gaming and streaming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just like getting it's just getting the time and you're just like, screw it, not doing
Yeah.
anything. Alright, practice, practice, practice."
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, the like Zeke was saying, it's also an endurance test. The more you push, the easier it gets over time. Right?
Hey, freaking
Mm,
Zeke. Another guy I've shared the stage with a couple times. Super
sweet.
sick dude.
That's awesome. Yeah. Kind of going back into moshing and like the misunderstanding of that. Especially in like the deathcore scene. I've only like I said, I've only just recently started going into like those really heavy metal shows. And like seeing the difference between the crowds is not as much as I thought, but like with some exceptions, obviously. Um, but yeah, going into that, what's the craziest mosh story you have? I want to hear it.
The craziest mosh pit story?
Mm-hmm. I know you got one. You gotta have one.
Um, there's, like, a couple things I could think of. One of them is one of those bad things where it's like somebody is, like, trying to hurt people,
Right.
uh,
Always
which
that one
used to
guy.
happen a lot in, yeah, it used to happen a lot in the local scene that
Mm.
I was a part of when I was younger because you would have these hardcore crews, which they acted essentially like little gangs because they would have, like, their name and they would have, like, their tags and all this, and they would beef with, like, other hardcore crews. It was weird.
That is weird.
But, I had one where they were going around and, like, hammer fisting people just randomly, like, they would just, like, walk along the side of the mosh pit and just, hit people like that. So, being me, I decided to hit them back. They didn't like that,
Mm.
but I am also not a very small human, so they
Yeah.
saw me and they turned around and left, and, that's one because I was, like, twice all of their size. There was, like, 6 of them, but I was like, "Hey, man, I've done my training, dude. I can take it."
Yeah.
And, um, I think the craziest pit I've ever been in, though, was, I Declare War and Carnifex did a co-headlining tour,
Mm.
and when I Declare War played, what song was it? They played I think they played Misery Cloud,
Mm.
and, the song starts with him yelling something out, and as soon as the guitar started, everything erupted,
Oh wow.
and it was at the Whiskey A Go Go in, Hollywood,
Mm.
and that entire floor turned into the pit, and it was just chaos.
That's fun.
It's the most intense pit I've ever been, because not only was it everybody moving, which, happens sometimes, but sometimes it's just kind of everybody going in the
Right.
same direction, but it was just people pushing and hitting in every direction, and it was
Wow.
just absolute chaos, like, everybody going full force, and yeah, that's the craziest pit I've ever been in. That was one of those ones where you get out and you're just like, I just like your body is just all battered, you're tired, you're sweaty, you're just like, "Yeah, that was something."
Yeah, I have not risked my neck for those kinds of things. I'm a little guy. I don't I like having all my teeth. I like having all my body parts. And I could get knocked around pretty easily. It's not very much I could do about that, and I kind of realized that really quickly. Um, so
Yeah,
anybody
that's
that
some,
can do that and handle it, it's like really cool to see. And I mean, I like at least watching those things from a safe enough distance, you know? I like still being involved in that craziness because there's that adrenaline rush that you get, and there's like a unity to it that, like, even though you're going crazy as you can, there's like that unity involved, and you feel kind of a part of one big thing, right?
yeah. Yeah, I guess that's like a little like big man privilege that I have.
Yeah.
I could go through a lot of those and just kind of come out unscathed.
Hmm.
But yeah, like the most recent show that I went to go see Whitechapel, and Brand of Sacrifice opened,
Yeah.
and the pit got pretty wild. The pit
Hmm.
wasn't that big, but I like standing on the side of the pit because a lot of people get carried away and start falling into everybody, and so I like being there, just like make sure nobody gets like squished that doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
That one got pretty intense, and then I ended up hopping in for a little bit because I was like, all right, I've gotten hit enough. Like I feel like I got to hit somebody back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah, that whole tour was really cool. I was actually there for I think like the day before or day after. Can't remember. It was like
Yeah,
really
I
close. I
think it would
remember
have
we
been the
talking
day
about this.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Maple hit me up and he was like, "Are you and Helena at the same show?" I was like, if she was there, I didn't see her."
No.
And
Yeah,
he
I
was
mean
like,
we haven't met in person, so we probably wouldn't know each other when we saw each other either.
"Yeah." It was so funny though because the way he hit me up, I was like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Let me check."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh no, she was at yesterday's show." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Gotcha. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
mean like I don't think
"Random."
people realize
Ye
how big California is. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, it's
Yeah, like,
not even a possibility for us.
it's ridiculous how big California is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't go into detail there for obvious reasons, but yeah, I don't know. Always hear it's always cool hearing people's mosh stories, especially like I don't know, everybody does their own thing and does their own thing a little bit differently. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah, oh yeah, but Brand of Sacrifice and Whitechapel, seeing them live on that tour, that was a really, really, really fun time. There was like yeah, there were a ton of fights on that one, the one that I was at. That was one of the more fist fight heavy. Like people were actually getting in fights, getting kicked out, getting knocked out, stuff like that. So it was unfortunate
Yeah,
to see
it got
because
pretty
go ahead.
yeah, the one I was at got pretty crazy too, but I ended up getting out of there because I so I'm a huge UFC fan. I have been for, like, most of my life,
Mm,
and, so, it's something that I started up with, my friend Scott, who is unfortunately no longer with us, and,
sorry to hear.
the whole thing was during the pandemic, we wanted a place where we could all hang out and just watch the fights together.
Mm.
So we started streaming on Discord, and a bunch of people like come up like for it now every Saturday, like because my whole thing is like if you want a place to hang out, even if you're not into the fights, just come on through and just hang out with everybody.
Cool.
And so we had that going, and I I believe my friend in the chat S12 is actually the one that was streaming it for everyone that night, but I had it pulled up on the phone. So I watched Brand of Sacrifice, but then when Whitechapel went on, I got like away from the pit because I was like, okay, like the main fight, like the main fighter that I was like going for the whole night, like he's up. So I was in the back, like on my phone. It was funny because I posted a video of it of like me watching the fight on my phone. Then you like flip up and look at Whitechapel on stage, and then back on the phone.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
Whitechapel ended up liking the video because I'm pretty sure they were doing the same thing.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, so I got away from the pit like before Whitechapel got on, but during Brand of Sacrifice, it got insane. Like there was people flying. And then there was this like one guy who was like the tallest guy in the pit, just smashed. So he was just stumbling everywhere.
Oh gosh.
It was wild. I didn't see any fights, but I'm sure some were going down with how like careless some people were being.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just really unfortunate that that's even really a thing because we're all there to have a good time, and there's always going to be that one guy or a couple of guys in a couple of situations. And then also, yeah, I've had that experience with some local gigs that you were mentioning with like people going there just to stir up trouble, which is really, again, unfortunate, and I think it brings a bad name to the majority. Yeah, I think there's
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
a lot of people that I've have you ever seen like videos where there are like these huge mosh pits, but they cue it up to like happy music instead? I don't know, like the opposite kind of music instead, and it changes the whole
Yeah,
vibe like entirely. It makes them seem like they're dancing, not like punching each other.
yeah,
So just it's kind of interesting to like think about it that way because people associate like we were saying people were kind of judge the music based on how it sounds and not on the general vibe and what people are there for, you know?
yeah. Like it's not a like it's for the most part like pretty wholesome crowd.
Yeah.
People just want to go there because they enjoy the music,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, some of
then
the nicest people ever.
yeah, like when I was there, it was just like especially because we had the fights on the phone. There was so many
Mm-hmm.
people coming, like, "Oh, you have the fights on? Like, can I watch it with you?" Like, "Yeah," and then just turn the phones there. We had like a whole little like circle of people like all watching, getting all excited.
Oh, that's so
It
fun.
was funny.
Oh my gosh, that's not what I would have expected. But I mean, it makes me think of also like those people that sit and do rowing in the middle of the pit, people doing I don't know all sorts of crazy stuff that's like other than punching each other. Like we're all here to have a good time, other than usually that one guy because there's always one guy. Um, but usually that doesn't last long from my experience. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. I have a good last question before we transition into games. What's something you've seen happen at a show,
for sure.
yours or another's, that's reminded you why you still do this?
So it goes. It wasn't me personally who was like it wasn't directed at me personally, but a band that I was out with. I was working the merch and just helping them out,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this girl and her boyfriend there, and she was like, it was crazy because they're not like a popular band in the least or anything like that, but she wanted to see them so bad. And she found out they were coming to her the area that she lived in, so she went. She was so excited.
Mm,
She was there while the band was playing. She was, like, crying. She was so excited. So I ended up giving her a shirt, and, we had what's it called? A drum head
mm,
that, the vocalist drew the band's logo on. I had them all sign it, and, we gave it to her, and, just the excitement that she had, and then,
mm.
her boyfriend was super into it too, but not to her extent, like. And it's just like, that's so sick, like, even though it's not directed at me, just seeing that the music and being there and seeing it in person could be that special to somebody that it makes them cry, like, it's, like, so sick because there's so much work that goes into it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, on our end as musicians, it's like the cliche, the blood, the sweat, and the tears. But then when you get that from the opposite side, even at that level, not the biggest band in the world, it's a local show, and she's still, like, going that hard for it. It's
Mm,
like that kinda stuff just gives me the drive no matter what, because it's like it's telling you that it's not only just special to you, you know?
right.
So that was, like, a big takeaway.
That's a really cool story. Yeah, it's a really cool
Yeah,
story.
it was crazy, like, I did not expect any of that kinda stuff. 'Cause I even asked her, I was like, "Oh, okay," like, because we had, like, these shirts that we were just ready to, like, throw into the crowd and stuff like that. I was like, "What's your favorite song?" And she, like, told me the song, and it was, like, the lyrics were on one of the shirts. I'm like, "Alright, here you go."
That's so cool.
And it
Aw,
was yeah, it was crazy. She had, like, a whole list too. She's like, "Oh, like, this song, and this song, but I think today I listened to this song more." And I was like, "Damn." Like, it's
like
not even
real
like,
fan.
she's Yeah, because some people are like, "Oh, I love your band," and they just listen to it on the way, which is fine.
Hmm.
You don't need to be the most diehard fan in the world, but she actually knew everything and was like all about it. I'm like, that's so sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I love seeing
So
that.
seeing stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not something that you get to see a lot, really. Like most people, I say this really generally, but I say most people don't really express it that much. And then whenever you get to see that, especially as like somebody more than just a crowd member, and you get to be a part of changing and like impacting somebody in that way, it's really special.
Yeah, it's super cool because it's
Yeah.
like you they're going home as happy as they could possibly be,
Yeah.
and that's so
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, cool. What a way to end, like, not necessarily end the interview, but like end the general questions that I have. I'll ask more throughout, and we'll leave it open to people who want to ask Steven some questions as well. So we're officially open for like a Q&A. Yeah. I've been reading the chat as much as I can, but I tend to neglect whenever we have a guest. So thanks, guys. She was the happiest
Yeah,
person I've
I
ever seen. Oh my gosh, I love hearing that.
yeah Zeke was I was out there with Zeke for that.
Mm,
That was yeah
wow.
that was an insane experience. Like I said, you never think that something like that is gonna happen. Like somebody just being that so into it.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Do you want to take a
This is probably
brief
gonna get
pause
super.
and like grab some water? I need to grab a snack really quick because I have not had my
I go
lunch.
for it.
Um,
I got my drink right here, so
okay.
I could run off like 2 hours of sleep and like a bottle of water. I'm good.
Perfect. I
Go
can't do that
go
anymore. College ruined me. um, but yeah, generally like yeah, I remember I was saying I was gonna grab my water bottle and I didn't, so I'm gonna go and do that and make sure I have like a protein shake just so I have something to hold me over for the
for
rest of
sure.
stream. But with that being said, we'll take a little bit of a break. I'm not gonna run ads because we just ran ads, so stay tuned, guys. We're gonna be switching into Phasmophobia and we're gonna play it for a little bit. And feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any questions for Steven.
Yep. And I gotta figure out my setup, so I'm gonna put you guys on. Be right back.
All right. See you in, let's meet at 50.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. All right.
All right, be right back.
Be right back.